All right. Shalom, shalom. So Most High Christ, the water. Shalom, Yabashim Ashar Bagadum. To all the brothers, Yahweh Shemal Adam Bashim Yashar, all the sisters. Let's go ahead, we clap it up. This is the Thursday night scripture breakdown class for ICBK Northern California, ICBK Sacramento, ICBK Pacific Northwest. We'll hold it down for the whole zone. Tonight, let's go ahead and get into scripture breakdown. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. I'll give you all a minute or two. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. All right. All right. Let's see. Check the chat. See any questions. All right. How will we get to the wilderness? All right. Let me see if I can find a precept for the sister. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 51. And let's see. It says if you have anything else, like you can add on to it to explain specifically what you're saying, but I'm just gonna go from what I'm hearing. What I'm assuming you're asking is that after Christ returns, after he comes back with 200 million angels and destroys this kingdom and all the kingdoms of the world, there's going to be a time where we are brought to the wilderness, away from all the things that are happening down here, the destruction that is happening to these people, these different heathens and all these people that follow the ways of the world. Let's see. 15, what I say, 51. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. So, this change is going to happen. There's going to be a moment of time, right, where the destruction is going to come down, thermonuclear warfare. The angels are going to gather up those and carry them to the chariots. And after the first wave of destruction, the angels are going to transport us to the wilderness where we will be there to train, and we will be getting ready. And it says that we will be transfigured, like we will be transformed in the twinkling of an eye. Our bodies will be new and fresh and healthy, stronger. If you had a knee problem, your knee problem not gonna hurt no more. Your back problem's not gonna hurt no more. You're gonna be in shape. You're gonna be running and operating on 1,000. And those are the ones that'll get lifted up and transformed in the twinkling of an eye and change. Now let's go to Revelations 12, where it talks about the time that we will get to the wilderness. Let's see. But the quick answer is we'll be taken there by the angels and the chariots. But let's go to Revelations chapter 12. And let's see. We can start. We'll start at verse 1. Book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. So this woman is clothed with the sun. What is the sun? The sun is the light. It's the light. People living in darkness is living in evil. People that are living in light are living in the sun, are living in the truth, following the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the wisdom. The sun represents wisdom, and that the wisdom is the law, statutes, and commandments. We went over that last week, that our wisdom in Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6 is the law, statutes, and commandments. This is how the other nations will look to us and say that we're a wise and understanding nation. So that's the sun. And the moon under her feet. And under her feet, what is that? That's the knowledge. That's the knowledge that we will have and acquire and know to do what is right according to the Lord. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So this woman is the children of Israel, the brothers and sisters that are coming and waking up to the truth, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Verse 2. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. So this is the pain that we will go through coming in to the truth and the things that the world is going to try to throw at us. Like coming into the truth, they're going to step. The more and more Black people start to wake up, the more and more Latinos and Native Americans start to wake up, America and these heathen nations are going to ramp up their things to destroy us or to make it hell on us, knowing the truth, like what they're doing with the LGBTQ community. You see Dwayne Wade's son, all this agenda is getting pushed and propagated all over the world. It's to make life hell for the children of Israel that are waking up to this knowledge. All right. Uh, Traveling in birth and pain to be delivered. And that's the pain that we have to go through to be delivered from our enemies, our captives. The pain and suffering that we have to go through, and all the hell they try to put us in this captivity while we're trying to gather ourselves together to get out of this captivity. Verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. So this is the different nations. The 7 heads are the different nations in Europe. I can name some of them off the top of my head. I don't have the list on me. France, Spain, England. Uh, let's see. I want to say, might say Germany. Let me go see if I got to do my notes real quick. I just wrote this down the other day too, but I didn't bring that notebook with me. But 7 nations, and then you got the 10 horns, or these are the 10 common markets that have come out of these nations, ranging from Switzerland, Ireland, uh, Luxembourg. What are some of the ones that come out? I believe Australia. So these are all these different nations. So for time's sake, I'll go through. We'll keep going. If someone wants the list of these nations, just remember it next time, next week. I'll type it down in the chat. I'll bring my notes with me. Let me see if I got it in my phone real quick. The 7 nations and the 10 different nations that come out. All right. But these are the smaller nations. Obviously, I believe America as well is one of the horns that came out. These 7 European nations that have ruled the world and are the center of white supremacy. Let's see, verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his home. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. What's a lot there? Matter of fact, hold that right there before I even go into that. I'm gonna go ahead and call and get the proper breakdown on the wilderness. But I can just give you a paraphrasing quick off the top of my head. We'll get to the wilderness through the angels. But I'm not exactly sure if this is the exact precept or not to go with it. So don't quote me on that one. So Salakia, I will come back to that and revisit that next week. Um, let's see. Month of Yah said. So I can't get understanding Genesis 49:12. Let's go to that. So it might be another one with the wilderness, and that might be the time that we were basically taken out of the land and then into the dark ages when the Edomites went into the dark ages. They ruled for 1,000 years. So Genesis, what is that? Genesis 49:12. Okay. This is talking about Judah. We'll go to verse 8, give a little context to the blessings that have come on the tribe of Judah and different tribes that Jacob is leaving, or Israel, who he became, is leaving to his sons. Genesis chapter 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. This is just talking about Christ, and the king of the children of Israel is going to come through the line of Judah, the line of the tribe of Judah. And so, verse 9, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Like Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. That's like a young lion is gone down and is stooped down like it's ready to attack. We always get in this posture, being Judites, always protesting, doing riots. These are the way that Black Americans have always acted. But then when it's time to really do something revolutionary, we become like an old lion and we're not able to act, and we move slow, and we really don't go all the way out like these other nations are willing to do for their people. Verse 10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So the scepter shall not depart from Judah. That's the kingship. That's the leadership. You know, the kings always have a scepter in their hand, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. What's between your feet? Salakia, your rod. Like a lawgiver is going to come from the loins of the tribe of Judah. That's where Christ is going to come from. And he's going to teach us how to follow the laws, obey the laws, and up the laws, and build us up based on a higher standard. And then let's see. Verse 11, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Like, this is just a way to say that in the end, Israel will be living nice. The Judites, everyone, the 12 tribes will be living nice, because we will have things, like, how can you say it? When you say he's swimming in money, or you say somebody, they say he bathed in gold, or like he's laced up, like you're able to wash your clothes in wine because you have such an abundance. And that's what I was talking about in verse 12. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Like your eyes, you have so much abundance. You is drinking, so your eyes is red, and your teeth white with milk. Like I always call the Holy Land of the Promised Land what? The land of milk and honey. These things are glorious things to have. We take it for granted living here in Esau's kingdom. But, you know, when you roaming in the wilderness, to have milk, to have honey, to have wine on hand and on deck is something that shows you have wealth. Like you think about people that are in prison or in jail, they don't have wine. You don't have a bottle of Hennessy you can go grab. They don't have just whatever they want to drink here and drink there. Those are things that come with being free men, with having a society, with having a kingdom of rulership. You just don't get wine any old where. And the wine that you do get is not great wine. If they are making wine or drink or liquor in jail or in prison, it's Pruno. It doesn't taste that good. You know what I mean? It's just not what you really want. It's not made from a professional standpoint. Well, when you get your own kingdom, when you get in rulership, you get to have those things. And that's how it was back in these days. They weren't able to go to Total Wine. They weren't able to go to Bevmo and get them a bottle. For you to even have wine meant something. And for it to come with abundance, shows the status that you were in, right? So that's all it is the teeth white with milk, the eyes will be red with wine. Is there anything else about the Mia? And Salakia again to the sister. I can double check. Let's see. She said Genesis 49. And they okay, maybe she's just typing and keeping up with the precepts as we go. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get to tonight's topic, something I wanted to go over as we come into these last days and different situations are going to come and rise up. One thing that oppression has taught us with men like a Martin Luther King is that self-defense is wrong. That we should be completely nonviolent, no matter what our oppressor does to us, no matter what harm he brings upon your nation of people. You just have to sit back and take it. So, what's the one word we got? We want you to be what is called a pacifist. A pacifist, by definition, is a person who believes that war and violence are unjustifiable. Once again, a pacifist is a person who believes that war and violence are unjustifiable. So they put Martin Luther King in this box and told him to promote being nonviolent amongst the Black community and to be a pacifist. But when he started to criticize America for being violent and going to war, then they had an issue with it. Let's see if we get Martin Luther King. So here's some quotes that Martin Luther King made about Vietnam. One of the things he says, I oppose the war in Vietnam because I love America. I speak out against it not in anger, but with anxiety and sorrow in my heart, and above all, with a passionate desire to see our beloved country stand as a moral example to the world. I speak for the poor of America who are paying the double price of smashed hopes at home and death and corruption in Vietnam. I speak as a citizen of the world for the world as it stands against the path we have taken. I speak as an American to the leaders of my own nation. The great initiative in the way in this war is ours. And that was, let me see, get something, I'll put this up on. There was actually an actress, Amy Schumer, who not too long ago, made a tweet posting Martin Luther King. And she tried to use it because she's Jewish. She tried to use this clip of Martin Luther King saying he supported Israel and he was against anti-Semitism to kind of get Black people on her side or make the world see that they should love not anti-Semitism, they should love the Jewish people and hate anti-Semitism and support Israel against this war with Palestine or Gaza. And so they always try to throw Black people in there and throw us and force us to be allies with them when we're going through our things. They're never allied with us. Amy Schumer is always trying to go against brothers that speak out against the Jewish community and things they've done against us. I think she was very vocal when Kanye West was going through his phase, speaking about this community. She's always had something negative to say about Black men that are speaking their mind or talking about the destruction that her people have had against ours. But now, when it's time for her people to be going through something, she wants us to come and be allies with her. So let's see. I'll read a little bit from this article. From, let's see. The war in Gaza has generated impassioned commentary from all sides, including celebrities. Whether or not we care to agree, people are entitled to take a stance on this war. However, no one is entitled to misappropriate the views of others to justify state violence, especially not the words of Martin Luther King Jr. That is what Amy Schumer did. Like when it says justify state violence, the nation of Israel is slaughtering the people in Gaza. There's no other way around it. 1,400 Israelis were killed on October 7th. 11,000 plus people from Gaza, Palestinians, have been killed since that day, a little over a month. There is no, they're not doing self defense. This is state violence, it's state genocide, them going against the people of Palestine, right? That is what Amy Schumer did. The comedian shared a clip this week of King expressing the thought that Israel has a right to exist and that anti Semitism is wrong. Her share without comment amid the backdrop of the Israeli government's deadly response to the October 7th attacks was no better than that of an AI picture shared of Dr. King and Donald Trump. Truthfully, it may be worse, like something that's fake and doesn't exist. This is actually worse than that. Why? Dr. Bernice King, daughter of the famed civil rights leader, replied to Schumer's post. Certainly, my father was against anti Semitism, as am I. He also believed militarism, along with racism and poverty, to be among the interconnected triple evils. I am certain he would call for Israel's bombing of Palestinians to cease, for hostages to be released. Um, so this thing right here, I think she posted something else where Dr. Martin Luther King or whatever, Freaky Mike, whatever his name was also talking about ending the war in Vietnam. And so the reason why I'm bringing that up is because they put him in a box and tell him to be nonviolent because it benefited them. But when he started to say, okay, I'm sticking this thing out, you want me to be nonviolent, he see how hypocritical America is that they'll go start a war with any and everybody and murder everyone, but ask you to be nonviolent. That's the hypocrisy of this place. They are allowed to be Christians and go to war. We're not allowed to be Christians and want to go to war, even in self-defense, which is insanity. Self-defense is not violence. Self-defense is intelligence. That's what self-defense is. Someone that's intelligent would defend themselves. And I'm just going to go throughout the Bible and show different instances of self-defense and then go to a couple of precepts that they try to use and misconstrue for our people to remain docile and weak in this place. Let's see. So what will happen to the Israelites who don't believe in Christ? The non-messianic Israelites. Okay. Basically, the Israelites who don't believe in Yahweh, they're going to be like John the Baptist. At some point, all of Israel will be saved and will be entered into the kingdom. Will be able to enter into the kingdom. However, they will be the least in the kingdom. They won't be in positions of power. They're going to have to follow Christ. How do we know that? What's the precept for that precept right here? Because go to Philippians chapter 2 and verse 10. Okay, let's see. Romans 14 and 11. Let's see which one here. Romans 14. Let's start at verse 9. First Corinthians chapter 14, verse 9. For to this end Christ both died and rose and revived, that he might be Lord both of the dead and the living. Verse 10. But why dost thou judge thy brother? Or why dost thou set at naught thy brother? For we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. For it is written, As I live, saith the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then every one of us shall give an account of himself to the Most High. So at some point in time, every knee is going to have to bow. Everyone is going to have to accept the authority of Christ. And let's see what Christ said about that too. I'll read another precept as well. Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. That at the name of Yahushua every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. And then we got this precept as well with Christ talking. Luke 19 and 27. The book of Luke, chapter 19, verse 27. And it reads, But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Like the ones that don't want to obey Christ, don't want to follow Christ, they're going to put to death. And after enough of that happens, everybody's going to get with the program. They're not going to want to go against Christ. They're going to obey what he said. They're going to obey what they need to do. And so these Israelites that don't want to follow Christ, they're going to have to follow Christ just like all these other nations. These heathens may not want to follow Christ, but they're going to have to obey because this is the one that came and put these nations that no one thought could be toppled over. Like today, you wake up and imagine how hard it would be to go to war with the United States of America. And these cats out here, they in their mind, they may puff themselves up or think they're doing something great. Even these purple pigs, they move around 30 people. They think they're doing something, 100 people. But if they had to go to war with Esau, their military might, which is not even a military, doesn't mean anything. Them marching up and down the street doesn't mean anything compared to the U.S. government and all of its allies. And then you think about China. China has 1 billion people in their nation, 1.3 billion people, and they cannot topple America because of the military power that America has. So if there is somebody that's going to come and destroy that military power, what do you think that you can do to go against him? And so that's what's going to happen with these Israelites that don't want to follow Christ. They don't have no choice but to follow Christ because everyone is going to witness the strength and the power and the might that is with him and the angels, and they're going to have no choice but to get with the program. All right. Let's go to, let's see. Let's get back to self-defense, right? Okay. The young man, not the young man, Saki, the trooper. Saki, if I may, this Amos 1 and 6 is the reason why the Palestinian people are being punished right now. Yeah, that is one of the precepts where it talks about Gaza. At the time, it was a prophecy about different people, but now it is applied to the people that are living in the land there today. So Amos, what is that? Amos 1 and 6. It says, Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom. But I will send fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Yeah, these Arabs have definitely worked and built the boats to enslave the children of Israel, to put us in captivity with these Edomites. They've always done these things. It's always been their culture. You can even go back to, what's that? What's that? Genesis. Let's see. Genesis, when the brothers sold Joseph, who did they sell them to? Let's see. Okay. If y'all know, one of the sons of the 12 tribes of Israel was Joseph. Joseph was sold into Egypt, into slavery. And so, go to Genesis chapter 37 and verse 26. Let's go to verse. They wanted to kill their brother because they were jealous of him. He said they would one day bow down to him. And the brothers were jealous of him. They knew the father favored Joseph. And so, let's see, Salaki. Start together. And so they conspired against him, threw him in a pit, and they wanted to kill him. But their oldest brother Reuben, in verse 22, Genesis 37 and 22, and Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, deliver him to his father again. So Reuben wanted to come and save him and bring him back to their father. Verse 23, and it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. There's a bunch of Arabs coming through, riding on their camels, and that's what it says. This is how you know it's the same people. Arabs have always been known for riding with their camels and going down into Egypt. Verse 26, and Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed Midianites merchantmen. They drew and lifted Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. Like, these people have always been partaking in slave trading, basically. It goes all the way back into these days. It's one of the things. They sell anything. The Arabs, it doesn't matter to them. It's the same thing today. They may have a certain standard for their own people, but if you're not their people, it doesn't matter. They'll do anything to you or with you. So Arabs, Ishmaelites, they say the Quran says you cannot eat pork. But in their store, they're going to sell you all the swine. And the Quran says they can't drink alcohol, but they will sell you all of the liquor and own all the liquor stores. They say that they can't smoke. They'll sell you backwoods, swishers, sweets, this, that, Philly, this, that, anything you need to get high, they're going to sell you that. And that's the spirit that these people have. And so when you go back to Amos 1 and 6, and it talks about them selling to the Edomites. This is why these punishments and things are coming to them. So, verse 6, Amos 1 and 6, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them to Edom. But I will send fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof. And it goes on to talk about Ashdod and Ashkelon, and the remnant of the Philistines shall perish. And it's interesting that the Philistines is where you get the name Palestine to this day. It was the land of the Philistines. The people there took on that name and they call themselves Palestinians or Philistinians to this day. We know the true Philistinians were Hamitic tribe, Africans, but these people that live in there now, they have taken the name and they have possessed the land and they're going to war over it. And these curses are coming upon them. The Lord spoke about in the book of Amos. Yeah. Well, sign Christ like now, my nigga. All right. Let's go back to nonviolence. So yeah, nonviolence is something that the oppressor has taught Black and brown people in a way that we have to live. And so I actually got a book. It's called Street Rebellion: Resistance Beyond Violence and Nonviolence. Interesting book that I just came across. Street Rebellion: Resistance Beyond Violence and Nonviolence by Benjamin S. Case. And I've been going through it. And basically, the author is bringing out the fact that it's just assumed that nonviolence is the best way to see change. And all these different doctors and educators have just come to the conclusion that that's the only way that you can protest. But this person is just asking, okay, when people riot, when they do this and do that, throw rocks to glasses or set this on fire, is that helping in some way, shape, or form? Because when you watch the news, you say something, okay, it's a peaceful protest. As soon as one window gets broken, they say it's turning violent and they try to discredit the whole entire thing. But in reality, General Muhammad was saying this not too long ago, that the reason why a lot of these Edomites are getting arrested when they kill Black people now is because of the riots. It's because of those protests that they call violent protests, you know. And so there's always a double standard with your oppressor. We're not even talking about going into a revolutionary war and bringing up arms. They're just talking about violence at a protest. Somebody throws a couple of bottles, somebody flips this over, etc. And so it's just very interesting. So let me see like this. The fact that we use the same word for both violence can muddy understandings either. Okay. Yeah, this is an area of tension we should lean into at the two are inherently connected. Okay. Not that part. In Paulo Freire's words, never in history has violence been initiated by the oppressed. How could they be the initiators if they themselves are the result of violence? This is a very heavy point. There would be no oppressed had there been no prior situation of violence to establish their subjugation. I'm gonna read that one more time and break it down in plain talk. This is something that's going on in Palestine right now. They're trying to say that Hamas and them are violent, terrorists, barbarians, savages, all these things, but they're not the ones that are starting the violence. The reason why they're committing violence is because they were subjugated or put into a position of being oppressed through violence. So how they got there in that little strip of land in the first place was through violence. But then it's like you poking at somebody, you punching them, you doing all these things to harm them, and then they turn around and slap you or throw something at you, and you say, "Look at him, he's being so violent." That's how the oppressor operates, right? So I'm gonna read it one more time. Never in history has violence been initiated by the oppressed. Never started by the oppressed. How could they be the initiator? How could they start something if they themselves are the result of violence? The fact that you are oppressed shows that something violent happened to you. And that's I'm gonna read the little last part. There would be no oppressed had there been no prior situation of violence to establish their subjugation or their oppression. Like This is very important for Black people to understand. We are told in order for us to change our condition, in order for us to be free, we have to go and vote. We have to go and peacefully march. We have to hold hands and sing and dance. And these are the things that are going to slowly make our lives better. But the way you get into oppression is the way you get out of oppression. The way you get into a situation is the way you get out of a situation. We got into slavery and captivity through violence and bloodshed and death. And the way we're going to get out of our captivity is through violence, bloodshed, and death. Now, are we going to be the ones that do it? La. The Lord is going to be the ones that the Lord is going to be the one that brings this violence and brings this death and brings this destruction to our enemies. And that's a glorious thing, right? So, but nonetheless, we're not getting out by voting our way out. We didn't vote our way into the slave ships, and we're not going to vote our way out of being oppressed. It should be common sense. These other nations have these understandings because they were not destroyed like we were. Go talk to some people in Israel about peacefully protesting against the people of Palestine or Hamas. It doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't register to them. And they would never tell those people to do that because those people have been attacked, been harmed, and they know they have the right to fight back, even if they go on overboard. That's the one thing. Like, we don't even get the thought of trying to fight back. They not only fight back, but they go overboard when they fight back to try to set examples. All right. Let's go to Luke chapter 11, verse 21. Let's see what I'm at. Luke chapter 11, verse 21. And it reads, when a strong man armed keepeth his place, his goods are in peace. Like, if you're strong, you able to protect the things that you had. Verse 22, but when a stronger than he shall come upon him and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor wherein he trusted, and divideth his spoils. He that is not with me is against me, and he that's gathered not with me scattered. Basically, it's just common knowledge. He's talking about something more spiritual and deeper than this. But on face value, it says, when a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace. Like, you should be able to guard and protect your goods and live in peace. And that's being, prepared. Armed means having weapons. All right, let's go to another precept. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. Verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Weapons of our warfare are not carnal. This is not how we believe we can get better at shooting and training and running and fighting so much that we can build a military to fight against America. That's you just got to be out of your goddamn mind. You literally got to be crazy to think that you can do something to go up against this place, rising out of the ghetto, making some paramilitary organization. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's some of the feats that the Black Panthers tried to do, and they realized they were completely surrounded, did not have the infrastructure, did not have the brotherhood, most importantly, to even do anything against America, right? But the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. The things that we use to fight against this nation and oppression are not weapons of war. It's brotherhood, sisterhood. These are the things that we use to fight. But they use this precept as a way to brainwash you to think that you can never protect yourself. Everyone knows in Ecclesiastes it says there's a time for peace, it's a time for war, it's a time for love, and it's a time for hate. When are we going to figure out when it's our time to hate? When are we going to figure out when it's our time for war? All we accept is just the love, 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 give out the love, 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 and all they give in return is hate, 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 hate. All right, let's go to the next precept. Luke chapter 18 and verse 3. Luke chapter 18, verse 3. And there was a widow in that city. Okay, let's see. We'll go a little bit. The book of Luke chapter 18, verse 2. Might as well. Verse 1. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men are always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. So he's saying this woman is always coming and asking for justice, wanting vengeance against her enemies. And she's asking this judge, who was not a just judge. He did not fear the Lord, but he said in his mind in verse 4, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she wear me. So that's the reason why he wants to help her. Verse 7. And shall not, let's see. We'll read verse 6. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said, and shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Like, this is telling, Christ is telling the men that the Lord will come. He will send his son Christ to avenge all of the things that happened to the children of Israel and follow them, and he destroyed them quickly. All right. So vengeance is the Lord's. This is what we wait on and pray for. But it's not wrong to want vengeance, and it's not wrong to want justice. But somehow we keep getting brainwashed into this situation. All right, what did the brother say? He posted this. Slacky, why do Muslims say that John 14:26 refers to Muhammad? I heard this before. Let's see. 14:26. Right. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I said unto you. So I believe the reason why they say this is because it says he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I said unto you. They always trying to turn, Muhammad into this great prophet that was spoken about since the days of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, ancient days. They always want to put Muhammad in there. There's a precept where Moses said that after him there'll be a prophet that everyone must listen to. But it also says the Lord will raise up a prophet from among thy brethren, from the children of Israel. So they're always trying to tweak or find these different verses that can put Muhammad or Islam within the scriptures of the Bible to add some legitimacy to what they teach. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's go to Luke chapter 1, verse 71. All this talk about nonviolence, all this talk about being a pacifist, but you really see Christ was none of these things, and it was never prophesied for him to come back and be pro everything, just with everything. Christ has enemies. The children of Israel has enemies, and he was brought to destroy those enemies and deliver his people. The book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 68. Blessed be, what of verse 67. And his father Zacharias was filled with the Holy Spirit and prophesied, saying, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up an horn of salvation for us into the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. Verse 71. Like the Lord spoke of these things since the beginning. He always said that there will be a Savior to come and deliver the children of Israel. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the land of all that hate us. And that's the mission that Christ was on. He was going to deliver the children of Israel from their oppressor. And that's what's going on right now. All right, let's go to Hosea 8:4. Book of Hosea, chapter 8, verse 4. They have set up kings, but not by me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. Or their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off. So we set up kings and princes and people over us that made us worship these idols, and that allowed us to be cut off from the nation and cut off from the Holy Land. We're going to have to get back. We're going to have to get our spirit back on us. All right. Let's go to these precepts about self-defense and why it's all right for us to protect ourselves. Exodus chapter 22 and verse 2. Exodus chapter 22 and verse 2. And it reads, If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. Like if the Israelite come and try to steal from you, and you got your Glock or whatever, you got some type of weapon, you kill him in the process of stealing. You're not supposed to go to jail or be put to death because this person did something that was wrong, trying to steal from you, and you just defended yourself. It's common sense, but you'll hear about stories in America all the time where black men defend themselves from oppressors, defend themselves from the police, and get locked and thrown under the bus with the key thrown away. What was the story I just was hearing about? It's a rapper named AD. He used to work with No Jumper with Adam 22. He said his friend has got like 130 years because he was defending himself from two off-duty police officers. They were not dressed in regular clothes, and when they came and approached him, because he got into a issue or had a problem with one of the police officer's sisters. She called her brother, and he came and one of his partners. They had on masks and gloves and tried to catch him in an alley and put hands on him. But while they're doing all, they tried to pistol whip him. While they're doing this, the gun ended up dropping. He grabs the gun and starts shooting at these off-duty cops. He doesn't know that they're police. And once he's shooting at them, I don't even know if he killed one of them, but they ended up trying him in court, and because he had past cases, they ended up giving him like 138 years. It's ridiculous, you know. They don't allow us to defend ourselves, but everyone else can. Everyone else has the right to do it, and we've been brainwashed by Christianity so much that we think that's the way to go. All right, let's. But if what did it say in Exodus? It says, if a thief, if the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood. Let me see. One more reading that. Verse 2. Exodus 22 and 2. If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he died, there shall no blood be shed for him. Let's keep going. Psalms 144 and 1. Psalms 144 and 1. Blessed be Yahweh, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Like the Lord is the one that strengthens and teaches our hands to war and our fingers to fight and makes us able to defend ourselves. Go to Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 17. The men in this Bible were always hardcore. Always the priests and prophets, man, were real solid brothers, dangerous men if need be. And that's the right spirit they were supposed to be in. There we go, Nehemiah. Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 17. And it reads, they which build on the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laid it, everyone with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. So this is talking about after the re-release from the Babylonian captivity, children of Israel come back into the land. They're trying to rebuild the temple, redo the the center of the children of Israel, which is the temple. They're trying to rebuild that. And while they're building it, they got one hand on the brick and mortar, the other hand is on their sword. Always being prepared. Somebody might hop out of the woods and try to destroy these people. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with them fighting back and protecting themselves. Let's keep going. Mm. Let's see. Some more precepts. Go to Hosea 8 and 4. Look at Hosea chapter 8, verse 4. I think we pulled that one. We did pull that one. So let's see. Mark 3. I'm watching different news articles and different news shows on YouTube and seeing how these Jewish people talk about the things they're going through and how they'll say, no one in their right mind would support a terrorist organization like Hamas. No good-hearted people would have anything good to say about the people in Palestine. They're just collateral damage, this and that and the third. And I'm just looking at this devil like, we are not allowed to do the same things that they do or feel the same way. He's saying, yeah, man, they're going to have to eradicate Hamas. They're going to have to eradicate the whole strip of Gaza because they did something to harm their people. And if you are against self-defense, then you hate the people of Israel, you don't care about them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for years and years and years, they've told us this lie that we have to live this way. But yeah, I'll bring this last little part of this book. We'll close up, getting close to 9 o'clock. It's interesting that there was a guy that wrote so much information about being nonviolent in books, and all the people today, they follow his path. You dig a little bit deeper and found out reading this book that the guy that is telling you how to be nonviolent and promoting this behavior amongst Black people is actually someone that's worked with the government, worked with the military, worked with, it just says in here, the CIA. He's done all these things to learn how to put up a fight like you want to be free, but it's really ineffective. He's learned the ins and outs of nonviolence, but he's never even entertained the fact that there is a reason why you should be able to get violent. And at the same time, he's telling everyone in the world to follow his pathway of being nonviolent, but he's working with the most violent people on earth, the United States government. Doesn't make sense. If you're really a pacifist, then you would be against all war, but you're really not. You're just following whatever they tell you to follow. And so all these things happen. The pacifist, you think of the word pacifier. You somebody put it in their mouth and shut up. They're trying to pacify us by turning you into a pacifist. Then you just accept any type of treatment. A baby could be in a bad diaper, but they're gonna accept that you put that pacifier in their mouth. They're not gonna trip. They'll go to sleep because you're giving them something to distract them from their real condition, and that's all it is. We can't go against a nation of people that don't have a conscience and expect them to, respect us. We're not willing to respect ourselves and fight and be willing to die for ourselves. So trying to get all the soldiers, together, rally them up, come into the ISUBK, the Commander, learn how to go to war, learn how to become the protectors of our nation, our people, and our families, and get prepared for our King to return. Hopefully everyone can endure to the end and we can take over this entire planet, man. I have to deal with and be enslaved to these people anymore. But with that, Salakia. Is there anything else? Any other questions on here? If not, we'll go ahead, close out. Let's say, Yahweh Shem Yashar, the thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema, thumb to all the sisters. All right.